Morning, and I have received some help from unexpected sources. I was so discouraged with life that I was almost ready to quit blogging, quit making videos, and I happened to read two blogs this morning. And one of them was the blog of a woman whose daughter had died an alcohol-related death when she was only 34. And of course she was a beautiful girl in so many ways. And of course she's just grieved about her something terrible. And but she never did write, that alcohol was part of her problem until now, 2 years later. Because she said that the family was still and did not, couldn't believe that was part of it. And she was a very unusual alcoholic in that a lot of people weren't aware of it. Most people just can't hide it, but she was able to hide it successfully. Too successfully, until all of a sudden. And then from her blog, I followed the lead of another commenter that I thought commented about this very well, and she's writing a blog called the Immortal Alcoholic, and it's about
what does immortal mean?
he wonders what the immortal means.
That's
Well, I think if it's been my mother who had alcoholic
still an alcoholic?
husbands, two of them, that's accused her of wanting them to die, buying them alcohol, great big bottles of it, and so, well, she just got damn tired of waiting for that too. So I wondered if that's what it meant, but, he's not going to sober up, but when, and here's my dear alcoholic here, and you can kind of tell from him. Anyway, I went to her blog and I read a very informative and wonderful article about.
Did not see that.
Now, if you want to find it on the internet, look for the Immortal Alcoholic. And anyway, she's caring for her son.
What about immoral alcoholics?
Who is
illiterate alcoholics?
She calls at the end stages
illicit alcoholics?
alcoholism.
Illegal alcoholics?
Well, I had a father who was an alcoholic. I had uncles. I had a couple of uncles who died, alcohol-related death. That was on my dad's side.
The guy got hit in the head with a bottle, right? Bang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. And I've also had innumerable companions who have been alcoholic. And I'm like this woman. I have an alcoholic son.
This woman's promiscuous, trust me.
I don't think it's to the end stages, but he could be approaching because he's in his late 50s. He's always drank. He's always been, as long as 15 years old, he was I considered an alcoholic. And so I am but me, I've never even been drunk. I took a vow like my grandfather did. His father died of alcoholism. He took a vow he was never going to drink. And I said, that's the vow I'm taking, because I've had enough of this. I'm not going to inflict this on my children. So I and people would try to get me drunk. They'd say, oh, just have one more. And I'd say, no. And now, bartenders just hated me because I'd say, I just want to
because you just want to take up a stool, right?
Right.
I pay 25 cents for a Coke.
No,
everybody else is paying $1 for a beer, so moving on down the road,
an alcoholic, alcoholics taught me to play pool. They want to teach me how to play pool. I took to it, so I would go in, put my quarter up. They'd think, she must be one hell of an alcoholic. She plays pool too. Guess what? Bartenders.
From that day on, she never put another quarter in. She beat the crap out of those alcoholics.
This is what I would do. They would get drunk, drunk enough to where you have to say, it's your turn. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's my turn. And then I just beat the hell out of them.
No.
Because I knew some hustlers.
Wait a minute.
If you ever meet a hustler who does not drink, watch out. He's going to clean up because he's going to get every alcoholic he can find to wager
like this hat,
whether
folks.
he can beat him.
I asked her if I should wear the white hat because this is Sunday morning. And what did she say?
I said, no,
you can't
White
do that.
does not. So anyway, I'm surrounded by alcoholics. So all you people out there who have alcoholics in your life, there's hope. I mean, there's hope. There's people that are taking care of these alcoholics that care about them. Me, I've always cared about alcoholics. I've really been their friend. Starting
There's
with
a
my
difference
dad.
between caring about somebody and taking care of somebody.
I tell
okay?
him, well, I'm too decrepit. I'm in the last stages of chronic fatigue, so I can't help him.
You know, I think what it
I
is.
can't feed him.
I
This woman.
think I have a problem. I think it's contagious because I think I'm getting chronic fatigue myself.
No, you're getting end-stage alcoholism.
Oh, okay.
I've
see,
read
at
the
least-
symptoms.
At least I know what I've got.
I mean, you're starting into it. I don't think, and so he could, go at any time. Anytime he could go. But anyway, I do have hope this morning that if I blog about this, and I've always thought, if I show an alcoholic, they're not, believe it or not, they can be charming. I've
Straight
tried to
vodka,
quit this
folks.
man
Straight
any
vodka.
number of times. And I've had people that act like, what are you doing with that old alcoholic? I certainly wouldn't do that.
Well, why don't you get yourself a nice, good-looking young alcoholic? See, that's
heavens, no! He would be
that's the way I would go.
That would be
But it would
really
have to be a
asking
female,
for
folks.
it.
It'd have to be a female.
I mean, has anybody ever seen one 73 years old as in good a shape as he's in? Yeah.
It's disgusting, isn't it?
The last one I had, I was sure, I tried to sober him up, and I got him sobered up, but he told me, he said, I love to drink, don't think I'm going to stay sober. I said, oh dear, you mean you're going to get drunk again? Exactly.
Wasn't this the guy that I met in the shoebox?
Yeah, and I thought he would die of alcoholism, but instead of that, he died of smoking, so... No.
Basically, it's worse than it is basically worse than drinking. I can tell you, most of the people.
3.
that I know.
Your alcoholic, this alcoholic that you care about may be what? A smoker, a drugger.
I'm a toker, Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's a relatively good alcoholic because he does not smoke. I do not believe he would live to be 73 if he was a smoker.
You're right, because I can tell you right off my own knowledge of my old age, I know people that are as old as I am, and if you keep smoking will get you. Drinking, you might fall down and hurt yourself, but it kills.
Well, listen, people.
It does.
Is
this a sermon or something like that?
Just about everything, every addiction that you have will just get a grip on you. And would you look at food? Look, people are going and getting their stomachs carved up because what? You ask them, why can't you just diet?
Wait a minute.
Why can't you just stop eating?
Wait a minute.
Guess what? This stuff gets on there, and it's almost, you have to accept a larger size as you get older, because if you've been addicted to food, as I am, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't even take Tylenol. But
we talked about this the other day. If you gave her a bag full of feces, she would go, and she wouldn't say, shut up. See, that's the kind of thing that I had to grow up with. My mother wouldn't say if she had a mouthful of it. Now see, her family is entirely different than mine. My mother did not smoke, she did not drink, she did not drive a car.
Is that advice too?
Well,
Is that an addiction, driving a
Well,
car?
that's true. She tried it twice and it didn't work. She said, Fred, that's it. I'm not, got down the end of the block. That's as far as she got.
Well, I'm glad to say that my lessons took better than that, or I'd been sitting in one place the rest of my life. Nobody would ever have driven me. I found out I had to drive myself. But anyway.
Well, you're riding a horse when you're 5 years old.
Yes, horses. I thought it was enough that I should learn to punch cattle without having to drive the family car. But anyway,
Did you punch a horse? You know, I've seen it done in a movie.
I'm now
Right,
heartened. I feel like that I can preach about drinking nearly every
certainly
other
hope
week.
so.
At least.
I would hope you could do
Can
it
preach
as much
about
as
your
possible.
drinking every other week
you
at
know,
least.
Because if you can't, first of all, you have to preach to somebody who has something that you don't want them to have, or they have something that you want you to get, you know. So you have to have both of them. We only talk about this religious thing, you know. By the time you're 12 or 13 and you're in church all the time and the preacher is laying it on you going, he's talking to the wrong person. You know, I'm bored to death. Go out there and beat the bushes, you know. I mean,
Well, that's what I always thought. They'd be up there and say, those smoking, those drinkers, and they weren't even there.
That's what I kept thinking about. Well, go out and knock on their doors. Are you smoking and drinking? Yes, I am. Well, come on into the church, son. Come on in. I mean,
Oh, no, you'll just tell me to quit. You'll tell me I'm wrong. You'll tell me, you'll be preaching right at me. That's what I feel like when I go there. Well, I thought that there was a lot of fat women in that church. He could have
honey,
easily turned
I
it
hate to be the one to
In
tell
those
you
days,
this,
though,
but
they didn't think that was
fat women.
They thought that fat women just came about because they ate a lot. You know, they were cooking all the time.
That's true. You go
There
over.
wasn't anything wrong
You go over
with
to
it.
some of those stalogs in 1942. You didn't see a lot of fat women there. I mean, they.
Although I did notice that a fat woman would probably die in her 60s, and her skinny old husband had lived to be 95. So that was kind of a clue.
I did not know that.
There was something wrong.
Did not know that.
There was something about eating. You could even eat yourself.
Well, see, one of the problems that
Into
I perceive it to be is that in the old days, folks, men used to have to get up and go to work. They would burn up calories so they could eat and burn up calories. Women would get up.
Cook their meals, another one at noon, and they would be piecing all the time, so it didn't matter how hard they worked in the home. If they had 14 kids to take care of, you think that was easy?
I think having 14 kids is absolutely obscene.
Or 10 kids or whatever, and but anyway, now I'm not gonna lie anymore about it. I mean, I know the truth, and so here
What?
is
Lie about what?
an alcoholic sitting here, and here is a big fat, what do you call him? Foodaholic, you know.
Oh, I thought you were talking about your breasts.
No.
Yeah, earlier she's. I gotta close this
That
up.
didn't push the table away.
Showing too much cleavage here, right?
There's not anything that, now we have got such a serious problem because we didn't get to it. For years we've been beating up on alcoholics, telling them, and we let a bunch of people get like 300 pounds and never said a word to them, just act like, And now they finally realize they've got an epidemic.
You know why?
People are getting their stomachs stapled and...
You know why?
What?
Do you remember back in the old days when they didn't have fast food places? Greasy
Cheap
places?
food?
Yeah, fast food places on every other block.
Oh, heck
know?
no, you had to start from scratch.
Yeah, you had to cook your own food. Now, in the saloon, a guy can walk in and say, give me a beer, right? Yes. But
You didn't have to make it from scratch.
You had to be at least 12, 13.
12.
See, now when I was young,
That's how he got addicted.
no. You could actually get a pint, or it was a tin, go up to the end of the block, and son, and they knew who you were, and you could maybe get a sip or two, and take it back home. This is this is a long time ago, but that's the kind of stuff there was. Did they have any fast food? No, that's why women stayed home and they cooked. But I don't know this and all that. But how does that explain my family? My mother was thin. Her sister was thin. Her older sister was. We were all basically.
And they didn't smoke either. But how in the world did he end up a 73-year-old alcoholic that fixes him a drink when he wakes up in the morning and doesn't stop until he goes to bed at night? He is absolutely, the drinkingest drinker I've ever seen. I've seen some that drank a whole lot faster. I've seen guys that would just fill up a bottle of liquor clear to here and go down it. That they call it a gulper. They gulp. That's what my dad. He could gurgle down half a gallon of whatever it was and finish, and he would be staggering.
We used to call it chug lug, chug lug, chug lug, chug lug.
And he would pass out.
Kill yourself.
I always thought everybody did that. They chugged it and then they laid down on the floor, passed out. And we'd step over my dad.
Listen, this isn't over yet. I'm going to lay down on the floor and pass out.
Yeah, pass out, and I don't think he's ever laid down on the floor and passed out in his life.
Well, the day's not over, neither is this video.
But anyway, I didn't. It was just. But I think I have been good for him because his nose is not quite as red as it was when I first met him. Even though he has deteriorated.